thoughts?
Yeah, exactly what you just said, in that the devil will be in the details.
Yeah.
All right, so what exactly do they say is illegal about these tariffs? Is it all of them? Is it parts of them? Is it very specific circumstances? And then what is the relief going to be for the afflicted parties in the event that some of these are ruled unconstitutional?
Right.
Is he going to have to cut checks, or is this just going to be going forward? I do not think that we're going to be seeing any refunds. I do not think the Supreme Court is going to muddy the waters like that. And I think the Trump administration has done themselves favors by saying we're going to send these out as checks to the American public, and kind of the backlash. I think the Supreme Court is far more in tuned to public outrage and public backlash and the consequences of their decisions than they like to let on. So if we get the ruling today, it should be interesting. But Polymarket has the odds up in the 70s and 80% that these are going to be overturned in some form or fashion.
That SCOTUS rules against the president.
Yes, and so I think given those odds, this sets up an opportunity for a market rally, in that if it's a partial rule against, and the relief is very benign, that we could see some market running here. And depending on how benign this ruling is, okay, the Supreme Court, or the administration does have several other tools to implement this trade agenda, which President Trump is just talking about. If you look at productivity in the fourth quarter, up 4.9% year over year, with labor costs down, this tariff policy works. It's working well. So I think it's, we're setting ourselves up for some good news here.
Yeah, I mean, tariff policy has been working well. And, you can argue this has been an emergency. Okay, people are dying over fentanyl.
Yeah, look, I couldn't be more bullish. We have this artificial intelligence boom going on, this build out. You're tracking at a 5.1% GDP for the first quarter, which, given the size of our government, the amount of debt we have, is almost unimaginable, yet here we are. But we were just talking about this during the break, that it doesn't seem like the back end of the yield curve is going down very much. The 10-year and the 30-year are probably going to stay in place, where the short end's likely to drop over 100 basis points over the next year. This puts you into a very golden era for banks, and the net interest margins for these large institutions should explode over the next year, and the credit quality should improve. The Fed's now adding to their balance sheet versus reducing their balance sheet, which is going to allow these banks to go out and really do more aggressive things and get more capital in the economy. So outside of technology, which is my number one sector, I love financials. What do you guys like outside this AI technology trade?
Yeah, I mean, we like financials also.
Hard to get your arms around how radical the left is in our country. If you look in these cities and these sanctuary states, you have an open defiance of the federal government. Okay, and calling for citizens to rise up against them, and then Secret Service agents giving up the goods to try to get the vice president killed.
Unbelievable. All right, we're going to keep following this. Cheryl, great reporting there. Let's get a look at a negative ruling, are you?
Well, I think
he's got enough alternatives, by the way.
Well, the market is set up for a positive surprise out of this, because it's going to come with which tariffs are illegal and what is the relief. And now, if you look on Polymarket, you're looking at like a 70 to 80. It's hovered between 70 and 80%. This gets overturned.
These predictions. I know, it's unbelievable. You bet on everything.
Well, it's a great way to know what the street is expecting, because people put their money where their mouth is, right? And so if this is a benign ruling, like, the market could rally, but from a macro standpoint, we're tracking at 5.1% GDP growth for the fourth quarter.
That's unbelievable, by the way.
Well, if you think about the size of our government, the amount of our deficit, to have 3% GDP growth is almost an impossibility. But to be thinking about 4 and 5% out the next couple of years as a possibility is insane. So are you as bullish as I am on the U.S. economy?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly for this year, but I am worried about policy over the next couple of years, and I don't want to get